Mysticism of the Seed, and Work Gift of Faith, in the Word. Welcome to our channel of commentary on Gospels, to discover yourself. Today we delve deeper into the meaning of the Eucharistic gesture. For a more complete overview of our human, cultural and spiritual offering, we suggest you visit the website daivi.art. Mysticism of the Bread of Life. John 6:24-35. Not if you seek Jesus not out of amazement at the person and his way, but because he guarantees more satiety than others. Verse 26. Then we must escape from the superficiality of short thoughts. To the Master, the correct relationship already seems like a finished love. Christ's proposal points to other goals. It is not combined with enthusiasm for a sensational event, nor with quiet selfishness. In the sign that nourishes the new way, the exodus of little boats, verses 22-24, that follow Christ, lies a vocation and a mission, a relationship with things and others, and an absolutely personal destiny, beyond what is assumed. A mysticism of the seed donated to finally make us leave without guardians, verse 22, opens up the sense of personal existence. The Son of Man. He is the person endowed with full humanity, who represents man in the paradoxical divine condition, humble, low, of an authentic person, capable of giving value and cheering up micro-relationships. He is always surprisingly on the other shore, verse 25, to make himself the flavor of the outgoing church. Eros beyond, which overcomes attachments, habits, consolidated balances. The Lord does not identify spiritual well-being with the extinguishing of the flame of the soul, even in the ways of activism. Therefore the requested work does not at all concern the satisfaction of the many requirements. It does not resemble the usual preparation work, the doing, verse 28, because it is rather a singular action of God, subject, in us. Observances must be tediously piled on top of each other. The divine work that is carried out in our every gesture is instead a precious virtue, an unexpected energy, new opportunity to meet ourselves, our brothers, another territory, and detach ourselves from exteriority. Jesus reveals himself in the sign of the breaking of the bread, food that endures for the life of the Lord, verse 27. That is, it leads to an experience that already here and now possesses the indestructible quality of the very intimacy of God. To receive the well-chopped food that sustains and becomes a source of complete life in us, the performance to be done does not belong to the kind of those we can prepare, not even according to law and devotions. It can only be a response to the work that the Father himself carries out within each of us, even if it didn't immediately appear brilliant and finalized, and here is the reversal guaranteed by faith's adventure. Religious submission is undermined by acceptance, which has a much less mortifying, and reductionist, meaning, vice versa, respectful of attempts, and creative. It changes the relationship with God. It becomes welcoming only, yet inventive, by name, unrepeatable and personal. No more passive renunciation, reproach, purification, obedience, slavishness. Appearances from yes-er men. The founding Eros does not scold us. It is uniquely gift. For a healthy reciprocity, respectful of our character and ascendant, in this way the attraction will not go out. It wants its peaks every day. It is not enough for it to transform into normal symbiosis, then habit. Rather, dream of a broad path. The rest unfortunately remains an ineffective or ambiguous sequel, always bringing the soul to war with her or himself and others, binary that, around. It can only manifest blind, one-sided, forced caricatures of his divine image, despite claims of excellence. Mechanisms that hurt, and they lead on common roads. John 6:30-35. What the term bread used by Jesus in this pericope alludes to comes from the Hebrew term lechem, whose root, consonants lhm, evokes its being ground and sieved in the passion of love, therefore it concerns in filigree the complete gift on the cross. According to a Jewish belief, the advent of the Messiah would have been accompanied by a rain of manna from heaven, called manna of the second Redeemer, to satisfy material appetites.
Bread that doesn't last.
There were also rabbinical speculations which reflected other claims, not of physical necessity, and they told of the bread that came down from above as a figure of wisdom. Deuteronomy 8:3, man does not live by bread alone, but by what comes from the mouth of the Lord. Compare Book of Wisdom 16:26.
To satisfy existential needs and great heartfelt questions of meaning, Jesus reveals himself and presents himself as the indestructible bread of life. There are questions we cannot answer. Why the pain and humiliation? Because there are lucky people and others who live unhappily without fault. For what a great task we were born, and why despite the comforts we still do not feel accomplished. Our experience is as if shrouded in the confusion of underlying questions. And often even the eye and warmth of a witness is missing.
So let's look for a person who translates everything, even what we don't understand, in relationship. And we long for its wisdom food, a foundation, the humanizing warmth, and a synthesis of all truth, of all history. Only Jesus and his story give meaning to the many events, also to limits, wounds, borders, precariousness. He is dream, meaning, action and voice of the Father. Key, center and destination of each individual soul and of humanity.
Single food for the hunger and single source for the thirst of women and men subjected to tests and questions.
At the time of Jesus, due to widespread devotion, Moses continued to be the great leader to believe in and adhere to, but according to the Lord, the exodus of the fathers is configured as a proposal that has no future. It does not guarantee orientation, nor subsistence and a joyful, solid and full life.
It does not even remain as a strain of the now.
It is only an archaic seed, a particular excrescence destroyed in favor of the mystical and renewed wheat that makes one proceed on the authentic path.
The costume, with all its scenographic efforts, had not ensured the great change, access to the land of freedom.
The gift from heaven was preparing and arranging another birth, upsetting from the root that light, tedious and insipid nourishment, food any, for all seasons.
No reassuring recipe comes to mind, because the second genesis and growth in the Spirit has character, but it does not happen once and for all. Nor does it make us a cold and distant club.
Even the wounds and uncertain events of life become a call to nourish ourselves with the person of Christ,
but reinterpreting it with new answers to new questions, to be generated again and grow in Him and of Him.
So we are in the episodes, yet outside of time. In the love that is born, still new.
We can experience the joy of living, instead of the condemnation of feeling undermined at every juncture.
Through this spousal and always unprecedented union, the immense significance of his person chopped up, ruminated, made one's own as one does with food, becomes the very life of the eternal. Verse 33.
Anointing that does not fade, that calls together to concelebrate. Thank you all for your kind attention. We invite you to subscribe to the channel to stay updated on our activities. If you liked it, leave a well done to support us.
Subscribe, give your precious like, share with your friends, and comment as well.